We're here with Dodgers hitting coach Aaron Bates. First of all, Aaron, just want to start with Freddie Freeman. I mean, this is a guy, Hall of Famer, probably going to have 3,000 hits one day, but it even feels like this year, 35, he's almost getting better with time.
Yeah, I think he's able to, use his experience in his brain and apply a lot of those things to his at-bats, and that's what good hitters do. They get better as they keep getting older because they're able to kind of take that knowledge and put it in the batter's box.
And is there anything you're seeing from him? I mean, we know he dealt with the rib injury, the ankle injury, trying to get into some of those inside pitches. We saw the walk-off grand slam. Is there anything that he's almost even unlocked to another level, or just Freddie being Freddie?
It's Freddie being Freddie for us. Going back to 22 to now, he's been pretty incredible every single year, and his ability to kind of stay consistent and not ride the wave, the ups and downs, is what makes him special as far as whether he's feeling good or bad at the plate. He doesn't let anybody know it in that sense, and he's just able to kind of take his approach, take his swing, and show up every day.
Yeah, and Shohei Ohtani putting up MVP numbers once again. You're seeing the power numbers as far as the home runs just be a little ahead of the pace from last year. Anything different from him? I mean, just the power numbers just being even better than they were last year?
No, I think last year he got off to a little bit slower start for his standards, which is pretty good for everybody else. But I think when he squares the ball up, it always is a chance to leave the yard. So I think he just tries to hit the ball hard, and when he does hit it hard, obviously it goes over the fence. But no, nothing drastic as far as changes go, or trying to do something more or less, that kind of thing. He just kind of, I think he's settled into himself and he's more comfortable, and so it kind of been more consistent in that sense.
Yeah, even the great players, they go through some slumps sometimes. With Shohei, what are you looking for when he's at his very best? And then when he's kind of starting to slump, what are you kind of seeing in his swing?
Yeah, I think it's similar to most great hitters, what pitches they're swinging at. That goes for Freddie, Shohei, Mookie, any of these guys, Muncy or Teo or lineup. It's just when they're swinging at the right pitches, I think a lot of good things happen. I think a lot of times you can evaluate mechanics and all these different things, but if they're not getting good pitches to hit, or if are they forcing it, or are they staying patient and that sort of thing, getting a good pitch to hit. And if a guy's missing pitches that are in the zone that he usually hammers, that's kind of a red flag when you know something might be off. But until they're missing those pitches or they're not hitting like a pitch that they're looking for, is kind of it's hard to evaluate in a sense, because obviously these guys in the mound are pretty good too.
Yeah, and it's incredible to see what Mookie's been able to do at shortstop, transforming into an above-average shortstop at 31. I mean, it just doesn't happen. As far as the offense goes, he's talked about kind of getting off to a slower start. He's mentioned just kind of finding a hit cue, and then when he finds that cue, it kind of unlocks him. What does he kind of mean by that?
It's just, I think every hitter's got them. They have different cues in the cage and the batter's box that help them, basically accomplish what they want to, or their body listening to them. When it could be anything from your legs or your bat path, or what you start your swing with, your swing trigger. It's just kind of a cue in your brain that kind of gets you to start your swing correctly, and every hitter might be a little bit different. So Mookie's got a playbook in his brain, and when he unlocks a certain cue that works for him, he's able to cover multiple pitches, multiple speeds, and obviously we've seen how consistent, how good he can be when he does that. So I think him getting sick at the beginning of the year kind of set him back a good amount, but the competitor that he is, he was able to still perform and compete and do his thing.
Yeah, what are you seeing from him with his swing at the moment?
I mean, he's been great the last 3.5 weeks or so. He's been really good. So I think we don't look at the triple slash line as much as everybody else does, or even himself. As far as that goes, I probably couldn't tell you too many of our hitters, batting average in that sense. I can just tell you what pitches they're swinging at, if they're hitting the ball hard, that sort of thing. But with Mook, it's just consistency. When they make a mistake, he hits it. When he's swinging at the right pitches, or gets that hanging breaking ball, something like that, he hits it. And when he's not right, he might miss it, or he might get a hit, but it's not the way that he has high standards, just like Freddie does and Show. When they're not hitting a certain pitch a certain way, is kind of like what you look for.
Awesome. We're here with Dodgers hitting coach Aaron Bates here on the #1 Dodgers podcast and show on YouTube. Aaron, when you see their body work, Freddie, Shohei, all these guys, how much does that kind of rub off on their teammates and just kind of leading by example? And just it almost feels like just everyone's talking, hitting, and it kind of rubs off on guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the ability to post every day. That's what I think the biggest thing that a younger hitter, or just hitters in general, is when you look at those guys, they show up every day to work. They give you consistent at bats. Their work ethic's the same regardless of how they're doing. And that's something to be said for itself. It's 162 games, and it's a long grind. But these guys show up every day, consistent, and then over the course of the season, the body of work, it always it speaks for itself. But as a younger player, I think what they would notice is basically the work ethic, the attention to detail and the work ethic every day.
Yeah, and you see that. As far as Michael Conforto, he's hitting the ball hard, hasn't had the success that he's wanted to. What do you think is the #1 thing to kind of unlock him to the player that he was last year and has been throughout his whole career?
I mean, his professionalism has been outstanding. He doesn't waver. He goes about his work every day like a pro. He's meticulous the way he works, and so I think it's only a matter of time. For him, he hit the ball hard. He, obviously had the home run against Cleveland. That was nice for us and for him. That kind of thing. But he's such a good player, such a strong guy. He's been around this league a while, so you kind of just you basically bet on the track record and that sort of thing. And then as long as he's getting good pitches to hit and he's swinging at the right pitches, then you can kind of go from there and build some momentum for him. But he's a great dude, constant pro, and I think it'll turn for him here shortly, which I actually think it has. He's on the other side of it now. He's had some good at bats the last couple weeks or so.
Yeah, then Muncie's kind of talked about his frustration, but also, like you mentioned, last couple weeks for him, the numbers have looked good. I know you see don't look at the triple slash line, but he's talked about kind of getting the top hand involved and getting on top of the baseball. Does it feel like to you he's turning a corner as well?
Yeah, I mean, the home run he hit in Cleveland was the ball's above the zone. He had a hit in Arizona off Ginkel that was above the zone and fastball above the zone. So when he's hammering the pitch above the zone like that, obviously he's going to cover the other pitches in the zone. For months at least, and Muntz is a pro as well. He never wavers. He walks. He gets a big hit for you when you need it. So he does a lot of little things I think that don't show up in the box score that helps the team win. And then when he gets hot, obviously everyone else can see what he's capable of.
Awesome. And last one, Aaron. So tonight you guys are taking on the Yankees, a rematch of the 2024 World Series. They got Aaron Judge. You guys got Shohei Ohtani, two of the best hitters on the planet, in my opinion. I think everyone's opinion, really. What impresses you the most about Aaron Judge as a hitter?
I mean, his size is for one thing. He's humongous. But last year, obviously having him and Stanton in the lineup, you look how big those guys are. Like Shohei and Judge, they miss balls and they go over the fence. You look at the ball that Judge hit off of Clase last year in the postseason. It was a line drive to right field. It's a home run. When these guys are that gifted, or that big, that strong, they don't have to be perfect. They can miss a ball to pop up for somebody else and it goes over the fence. Shohei did it the other day in Cleveland. He hit a ball to left field. And it's just like their margin for error in that sense is a lot bigger. But at the same time, they got longer limbs. They got to control their bodies. So I don't take that for granted. But just it's fun to watch both hitters and watch them do their thing.
And last one, of course, I got to ask you about Shohei. Of all the things he does, knowing hitting like you do, what impresses you the most about him as a hitter?
I'd say his day-to-day meticulousness, the way he works and the way he prepares every single day the same, regardless of what he's going through. He doesn't overswing. He doesn't swing too much. Doesn't swing too little. Doesn't take it for granted. I think just his attention to detail has been outstanding.
Awesome. Well, there he goes, the great Aaron Bates. He's forgotten more about hitting than most people ever know. Thank you for joining us here at Dodgers Nation, Aaron.
All right, thanks for having me.
You're the man. Appreciate it, dude.
Yep.
It's easy.